Welcome to our week 3 video. So let's start with the basics. Our class is Perspectives in the Social Sciences, and the 3 social sciences that we're focusing on are anthropology, psychology, and sociology. For psychology, we're looking at an individual, we're looking at their mind, what makes an individual person, what influences how an individual person makes a decision and what they do. Sociology, we're talking about groups. We're talking about an interplay between groups. How do siblings, how do a brother and sister interact inside of a family, where the family is a group? What happens inside of a neighborhood? How does bringing in a business change the nature of a particular neighborhood? What about groups by ethnicity? What happens with how is it that Jews pay attention to certain things like dietary restrictions and fasting on certain days and not eating certain foods at certain times of the year? And then another group might be one that we're talking about gender. What are the gender differences in professional jobs between men and women, and what causes those gender differences? So that would be sociology. And finally, anthropology. So anthropology, while it is looking at groups and culture, it's focusing on comparisons, like a historical distinction. So how did people communicate in the 1950s? How does that compare to the 2020s? Or another one might be, what is life like for a teenager in the United States, and what is life like for a teenager in the Ukraine? So some differences between it. Last week, we talked about observations in individuals. So we started with talking about objective observations, and by objective, we mean what we get with our senses. What do I hear? What do I see? Last week, we did not do subjective. Subjective is my interpretation. What does the observation, the objective observation, what does it mean? When we begin to interpret, when we begin to say, I think, I feel what this means, that's moving into subjective. We focused last week on individuals, specifically one person, so that you had to write about the objective observation of each person in the ad separately. This week, I want you to look at groups. What is the interplay between the groups? It's a larger frame. So I might think in culture as Americans and Russians, or Christians and Buddhists. Upper class, I might look at professionals or the medical community and look at cultures in that. But you're going to specifically define groups and culture within your actual ads. And then last week, that will be for this week. Last week, we also began to talk about bias. So when we're talking about bias, what we're saying is, how does my interpretation, subjective, how does my interpretation influence how I evaluate something, how I look at something? So today we're going to do, this week, week 3, we're going to do a discussion post. The first thing I want you to do is a look back. What was hard about doing the objective observation? And don't forget to answer in your discussion post, which of the 3 social sciences, anthropology, psychology, and sociology, which one would you use to analyze your ads, and why would you choose that one? Doing a good job on this post will help you later on with an assignment that we have in about week 5 and week 7. And the assignment, the week 3 activity, we're focusing on groups, on cultures. Make sure you know what stereotypes are. Are the ads using stereotypes? And what role do beliefs, values, and assumptions play in analyzing our ads? I look forward to reading your discussions with each other, as well as looking at your advertisements. Thank you. Bye.